Ladies and gentlemen, we have been cooking something up over here, and I think you're really gonna like it. Welcome to a new series on the channel that I like to call the Weekly Reload. Essentially what this is it's a weekly news show that is going to be on the channel that's going to cover everything that has happened in Call of Duty, first-person shooters, and just video games as a whole. But it's been a busy week, even outside of video games. Of course, you Americans have your brand new president over there. Here up in Canada, it's pretty much been the coldest I ever remember it, at like negative 35 degrees Celsius, which by the way, I'm pretty sure is like negative 31 freedom units for you Americans. We're moving more into the video game side of things. We're going to be looking at, of course, Season 2, but more specifically, as you can tell by the title, the real reason I truly believe Microsoft bought Activision that absolutely no one is talking about. And on top of that, we're going to talk about what else is new in the gaming industry coming this week, with a few little surprises as well. First, let's start out with the big thing, Season 2.
To a new Avalon. Cheap syndicate bastards. That's all we're worth?
Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
So never has it been more important for a Call of Duty season to succeed. And in fact, on Friday, I uploaded a video directly about that. Is Season 2 enough? Now, if you didn't know what is coming in this season, starting off with multiplayer, essentially 3 new maps at launch, and then 2 new in season, one of which being a remake of a map from Black Ops 2 called Grind. Gun game is finally making a return, but other than that, nothing really too crazy when it comes to playlists. Like per usual, we are getting new perks and as well as a new score streak in multiplayer. Zombies fans, you are eating well this season, and quite honestly, I didn't think this was coming until Season 2 Reloaded. But yeah, you Zombies fans, you are getting a brand new map called The Tomb. Now, it's said that this is a smaller map, but based off of everything that we've seen from this map has some aura to go along with it. Not to mention, the wonder weapon of the Staff of Ice is making a return, as well as Death Perception as a perk. The War Machine, just like in multiplayer, is also coming to Zombies, and yeah, of course, there's going to be a new Easter egg and everything like that, and your directed mode is going to be coming in season. Now, one of the most wild things to me is Warzone, because traditionally, the way that seasons have worked in the past few games is Warzone has been a massive, if not one of the biggest parts of every seasonal update. Warzone in Season 2 of Black Ops 6, it's almost nothing. Yeah, there's a ton of quality of life changes, and basically they're just fixing everything that they have broken up until this point. Warzone, I think, has seen the biggest decline of their player base by far out of anything that has gone on in Call of Duty this year. And yeah, that's because when the game came out and was joined with Black Ops 6, essentially, it was completely broken. So they're fixing all of those things, and really the only new things that are coming are new perks, as well as ranked play rewards, which hopefully one of the things that they said they're fixing is Ricochet, which should, and I say that with a huge emphasis, should fix a lot of the cheater problems. But again, it should. Now, the biggest surprise to me of all was the amount of weapons coming with the season. First of all, there are 3 ranged weapons that are all coming with the Battle Pass, as well as another weapon that is coming separately during an event during that launch window. Not to mention, they are adding in kind of weapon mods in several different ways, but all of which are coming through events. And then of course, you have your events, your Battle Pass, your Black Cell, everything like that. It leads to the question though, is this enough to bring players back to the game? Because I can tell you, based off of what we're seeing, if you're a Warzone player, nothing new is coming. They're just trying to fix the things that they broke. So let me ask you this. Are you going to be playing Warzone again? Now, moving into something a little bit different, this is going to be a segment that I'm going to like to call our tinfoil hat moment of the week. Now, where this comes from is essentially a video that I watched earlier this week. It's from someone by the name of Mint Blitz, and he works on Halo videos. Halo is owned by Microsoft. Call of Duty is owned by Microsoft, but what this video was about was very interesting. It was specifically about the way skill-based matchmaking works currently in Halo.
The new matchmaking system already knows within a standard deviation what the outcome of the game is going to be. You can literally tell nowadays if you're going to win or lose, and if you go to Halo Waypoint, the system very accurately predicts how well you're going to perform.
Here's the thing, in that video, he shows off a graph, and that graph very much so represents the graphs that we have started to see from the SR ratings and skill-based matchmaking that has started to come out with Black Ops 6. Very, very similarly resembling it. And then I got thinking, because in his video, he essentially explains that Halo's matchmaking has slowly started to move away from just skill-based matchmaking, where you'd play against similar skill-level players, your SR would go up or down based off of who you were playing, and that would change. It's moved to more along the lines of what Call of Duty has, which is engagement-optimized matchmaking, making you try to play the game longer by giving you some freebie wins, or making your games more difficult if you've been winning too many, just trying to increase the retention of the game as a whole. And then I realized this has to be part of Microsoft's plan. If you didn't know, Activision, before they were bought by Microsoft, had over 1,000 patents, 700 of which are actually in use and about 300 of which are not. Now, as far as these patents go, they range very widely. Some of them are to increase the way and amount of people that buy microtransactions using certain customer behavior. Also, on top of that, things like skill-based damage and skill-based connections have had patents but aren't currently in use, as much as some people are going to disagree with that. And some of these patents include the way that they used skill-based matchmaking and the way that they used engagement-optimized matchmaking. And I truly believe one of the reasons why Microsoft bought Activision wasn't just for the vast amount of IPs that Blizzard and Activision had, ranging from World of Warcraft, Diablo to Call of Duty, but also these patents that Activision had. Because now that Microsoft owns Activision, they can now use the same sort of algorithms and plans that have been used in Call of Duty to emphasize engagement optimized matchmaking in their other games like Halo. Now, taking the tinfoil hat off and moving to something a little bit more positive. So just over a week ago, normally this would have been in last week's show if the show existed, is Nintendo released the information and a trailer about Nintendo Switch 2. It looks bigger, it looks like the controllers can be used like a mouse, there's a bunch of new things about it. But one of the new things that hasn't really been focused on too much is the fact that when Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, one of the things that they agreed to was to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo. And now that there's some new kit coming out for Nintendo, it seems like an optimal time for that game to be moving forward. Now, speaking of the game moving forward, let's look forward at the future of Call of Duty. So as we know, next year, or I guess technically this year, we're supposed to be getting a remake of sorts for Black Ops 2, where a bunch of the multiplayer maps are going to be stemming from the original Black Ops 2, as well as a new campaign said to take place in the near future, rumored to be 2030. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about the year after that, because there has been a couple of rumors about Call of Duty 2026. First of all, it is rumored that Xbox is going to be releasing their next generation of console around that time, and one of the launch titles is going to be Infinity Ward's next Call of Duty game, which is slated to be another Modern Warfare, most likely Modern Warfare 4. And with the leaks that came out this week, it sounds as though DMZ may be making a return with that game, which was slated back in Modern Warfare 2 and then kind of disillusioned after Infinity Ward was out of the picture. DMZ was Call of Duty's version of the extraction shooter. But what was interesting about this is the entire time that it was out, the entire time that we could play it, DMZ was in beta. It was never technically finished, and that's kind of what people felt about the game. There was really no out-of-game marketplace. Some of the loot that you received in-game didn't really have any impact on the overall progression, and it just kind of seemed half finished. And I think there is a huge market for a fully fleshed out Call of Duty extraction shooter. That fluent gameplay that Call of Duty presents alongside something where you'd have an out-of-game marketplace, things along those lines, I truly believe could be the next big thing in Call of Duty. It just has to be done right. And if this entire time Infinity Ward has been working on improving it, we very well could see the next big thing of Call of Duty coming in 2026. And yeah, that's pretty far away still. Now moving into some more industry-wide news, starting out with a little bit of Call of Duty sales numbers. If you didn't see it, the #1 selling game for last year, 2024, as well as the #1 selling game in December was Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Now the surprising part about this is if you look at the Steam charts, we see that heavy decline of numbers like we've never seen before. Yet it was still #1 in sales. And there were some people trying to explain this in a way that, oh, well, the game went on sale for $20 all over the place at Costco, things like that. And with that, they said that that means the sales went up because of that. But what people don't realize is that these charts are measured in dollars, which means they would have to sell 3 times as many copies to make up that $60 price that all of these other games are actually charging. Which means, if anything, Black Ops 6 was selling that much more during that period that it was on sale, which does make sense with the price. But what's crazy about this is through all of this, people were complaining like crazy, which leads me to believe that majority of drop off that we see with Steam numbers is mainly because of Warzone and not because of Black Ops 6. And in a tweet from Jake Lucky quoting Nick Merckx, it said, they, Activision, obviously don't care, and why should they? The majority of these guys just complain all day, but still load up. And as long as players are still playing, as long as players are still coming, buying the game, and it's the #1 selling game, why would they care to change skill-based matchmaking? Why would they care to hone in that anti-cheat? As long as the money's there, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. And hopefully in season 2, we see that change to, at the very least, Ricochet, but only time will tell. But I do think that Warzone is incredibly bleeding off numbers incredibly hard. Now, in some more positive news, check this out. This is Doom: The Dark Ages, and this went live yesterday during an Xbox Direct, which honestly, throughout that whole kind of live stream that they did, I was pretty impressed with all of the games that they put forward. But Doom, if you're a first-person shooter fan, is an absolute classic. And in this one, you basically have a chainsaw shield, as well as a flail, and a plethora of different weapons that all come together to look absolutely amazing. This is going to be a game that I'm definitely going to be checking out, as well as the other ones from there. And if you want to see my reaction to that, I have a video over on my second channel where you can see what I thought of all of the games during that Direct.
And as cool as all that is, we know that fans of single-player action games expect more than just great.
Now, I think a hugely understated piece of news is really what's been going on with EA. So this all kind of stems from the release of the game of Dragon Age Veilguard. It came out with a good critical reception, but the community as a whole really wasn't digging the game, from bad story writing to those DEI problems that a lot of games are having problems with lately. It didn't matter how good the reviews were because people weren't spending their money. It was kind of actually the opposite problem that Call of Duty is having. And as it turns out, about half as many people as they wanted to buy the game actually did. And because of this, the game director, someone who was at EA for 18 years, dropped down. And after they had an investor call, we found out that there was only 1.5 million engagements with the game. Now, that doesn't mean 1.5 million people bought it, because there's services like the EA subscription model, which actually has a 5-hour free trial, which I think a lot of people may have tested out Dragon Age on as well. So no, 1.5 million people didn't buy the game. 1.5 million people at least tried it out, and they wanted 3 million people to buy it. So clearly it didn't go very well. And after this news came out, there was a massive drop in the stock price for EA. And I've heard numbers as high as $6 billion were lost from the company because of this stock price drop, which is massive news for EA. Some will be happy about it, but let's be honest, we all just want one thing, and that is good games. So moving forward into this week, of course, the biggest thing to come out is going to be Season 2. We're going to have to wait and see if this, like many other updates we have this year, completely break the game, or maybe this is the start of the incline of some pretty good content to come with Black Ops 6. Now, I ask one thing: if you enjoyed the series, you like the kind of news style videos, I would love it if you guys could hit that like button and, of course, subscribe, because we've got another one of these coming every single Sunday. So if you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you guys coming out. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace.